this video we're going to discuss chords in inversion. Inversion simply means that a note other than the root of the chord is the lowest sounding chord tone. Right now I have set up staff with 2 sharps, key of D major, and pictured here is the tonic chord in root position. Root position because the root is the lowest sounding note. Above it, 3 notes, right, we have the third, and then above it 5 notes, we have the fifth. So if you would have a note other than the root sound, you would have an inversion. So let's take that same chord, which is spelled D, F sharp, and A, and we'll keep the F sharp as our lowest note. Our second highest note will be A, but let's put the D up here. So in a sense what I've done is I've taken this lowest note, the root, and put it above. And so now it's the third that's in the bass, right? The third is there. The fifth of the chord is above it, and the root of the chord is above it. So let's discuss what to call this inversion. Well, to do that, we'll go back to the root position and say that we had the interval of a fifth above the D, and then an interval of a third above the D were the other 2 chord members. So this would be technically called a tonic 5-3. That's what a root position chord is called. But normally, people just put tonic, and they don't put the 5-3 next to it. But it is actually a 5-3. You just don't have to, it's just a convention not to put that. So the intervals we have in this second example are a third, right? The F sharp to the A is a third, and then the F sharp to the D is a sixth. So you're counting up from the lowest note. Here from the lowest note we had a third and a fifth. Here from the lowest note we have a third and a sixth. So this one we would call a tonic 6-3. However, traditionally people just call it a tonic 6. They know that 6 means 6-3. So if you don't want to say the 3, that's okay. Although you can, it's not incorrect to be really detailed. All right, and then another possibility would be to have the A as the lowest note. Let's put a D above that and the F sharp above that. So now the intervals that we have here are a fourth, right? D to A, or A to D, I'm sorry, is a fourth, and then A up to F sharp is a sixth. And this one would be called a tonic 6-4, and that is actually what we usually refer to it as, not something less. So we refer to the first one as root position, and that's what we've been working with so far. We refer to the second one as first inversion, right, where the third is in the bass. And then we refer to the next one as second inversion, where the fifth is in the bass. Let's go to the next screen and actually do some part writing with first inversion chords. So here I'm going to set up the key of E flat major, 3 flats. If I had a tonic chord in root position, E flat would be my lowest note. And let's put another E flat. Let's double the root like we always do in root position chords. So we'll double it in the alto. Let's put the third in the soprano, the G, and let's put the fifth in the tenor. So I have the notes E flat, G, B, but I have them deployed for soprano, alto, tenor, and bass in the way we've been doing it. So right next to it, I'd like to put a tonic 6, or a tonic first inversion chord. Well, if you recall, we said for tonic first inversion, we want the third in the bass. Well, the third of this chord is G. So I'm going to put the G as my lowest note, put it up here. And then the other thing about the first inversion chords is usually you double, not the root, but you double the soprano. So whatever note I happen to put in the soprano, I think I'll put a B flat in the soprano, I'm going to have to put somewhere else. So I'll put it in the tenor, and then what's left is the E flat. So in the root position chord I had 2 roots, E flat, E flat. In the first inversion chord I have 2 sopranos, B flat, B flat. That's the normal doubling for first inversion chords. You have to double something when you have 4 voice parts, soprano, alto, tenor, bass, but only 3 triad members. Alright, let's just do one more first inversion chord before we go to second inversion. So let's do a dominant 6. And again, for it to be first inversion, we have to have the third of the dominant chord in the bass. Well, the dominant chord is the chord built on the 5th scale degree, and in the key of E flat major, the 5th scale degree is B flat. And so it would be spelled B flat, D, F. So we're going to we're going to put the third, the D, in the bass. So here it is, D. And then whatever we put in the soprano, we're going to double that because the normal doubling for first inversion chords is to double the soprano. I think I'm going to put F in the soprano. And let's put the B flat in the tenor, and let's double the soprano in the alto with the very same note. So we do have two Fs, that's our doubling, and we have the third down here as our bass note, just like we did over here. The third of the chord is our bass note. So that's first inversion. Let's go ahead and talk about second inversion. Now, second inversion is when the fifth of the chord is in the bass. So for instance, if I was in B minor, let me set up two sharps, and we'll make this B minor. And if I had a tonic in root position, I would have two roots, two Bs, like so. Right, so this chord is spelled B, D, F sharp, and in the example, I've got two Bs. I've doubled the root. But now, I'd like to do a first inversion of that same chord, so we'll call it a tonic 6. And I'm going to put the fifth, tonic 6-4. We're going to do second inversion. And we're going to put the fifth of the chord in the bass. So in this case, we're going to put F sharp as our lowest note in the bass. There's an F sharp. And the normal doubling for second inversion is we double the bass. So I need another F sharp. Well, I'm going to put that other F sharp in the tenor. And then I just need a D and a B. So that would be an example of a second inversion voicing of the tonic triad, and we call it a tonic 6-4. Let me do another key. I'm going to set up the key of, let's do B flat major. So two flats is B flat major. And let's do the tonic 6-4 here. So the tonic chord in B flat major is spelled B flat, D, F. I'm going to do a voicing where F, the fifth of the chord, is in the bass. So I'm going to put the bass note way down here, and I'm going to double it in the soprano up here. So that I've doubled the bass. I've actually also doubled the soprano, though, technically. Anyway, the D I'm going to put here, and then the B flat I'm going to put here. So that would be an example of second inversion tonic chord in B flat major. Let me just do one other of that same chord. Let's put the F up an octave in the bass, and let's double it in the tenor, and let's put a B flat in the soprano, and let's put the D in the alto. So this is the same chord, and it's still considered a tonic 6-4. 6-4 meaning that the interval from the F to the B flat, that's a fourth. It's actually an octave and a fourth. And then the interval from the B flat, or from the F to the D, is a sixth. So that's where we get the 6, right? The 6 and the 4 from. Just like in our last screen, we get the interval of 6 because from the bass note above it you have a 6, and then the bass note above that you have a 3. So 6, 3. Alright, so we've talked about first and second inversion. Let's look at a musical example that uses both those. This is a hymn, and I'm going to play it for you first, so I hope you can hear this. This is that hymn by St. Martin's. And here we go. Alright, so when we're analyzing this, we're going to look for, take an inventory of vertically what's happening. You know, north to south, what are the notes that are present, and figure out what triad we have. Then we're going to look at what the lowest note is. That'll tell us what inversion is, and we're going to reflect that with a Roman numeral chord below. So first of all, let's just look at the key. We've got one flat, it's either F or D minor. We have no leading tone of D minor, no C sharp, so it's going to be F. F major. And the first chord, if you take an inventory of all the notes, it turns out that F, A, and C spells the triad. Here's another F, but F, A, and C. So that's a tonic chord. So we know it's going to be some kind of a tonic, but what note is lowest? Well, when A is lowest, that's the third of the chord, it's going to be a tonic 6, a first inversion triad. So that's how you would analyze that. The next chord, we add up all the notes, we have a B flat, a D, and an F. It forms the triad B flat, D, and F, which in the key of F is the subdominant triad. So we're going to label this subdominant, and now look at the lowest note. It's a B flat. Well, that is the root. So since it's the root, we're just going to leave it blank. Now we could put 5-3 if we wanted to really be detailed, but mostly people, when analyzing music in root position, they put nothing. Okay, we do have some non-harmonic tones, some notes that aren't part of any chord, just decorating the music, so I'm just going to cross them out temporarily. Okay, on the next beat, we have an E flat, we have some G's, and B flat. So E flat, G, B flat. That is a chord in this key, E flat. I'm sorry, E natural, my bad. E natural, G, and B flat. Okay, and that is the leading tone in the key of F. The leading tone is the 7th scale degree. Putting this in red because it's really a chord we haven't dealt with yet. But we do know the chord built on the 7th scale degree is leading tone. The little 0 there shows it's a diminished chord because we have a minor third and a minor third. And it is in first inversion though, because it's the note G that sounds lowest. So we're going to call this a leading tone diminished 6th. It's in first inversion. Okay, the next chord looks like we have the same as the first chord. We have an F, an A, and a C. But A is the lowest note. So it's just like our first tonic chord where we had F, A, C with A as the lowest sounding note. And that's going to be a tonic 6, a tonic first inversion chord. On the next beat, if you add up the notes in triad form, or snowman form if you will, we've got a G, above that, B flat, there's 2 of them, and then D. So G, B flat, D. Well, the chord built on G is the 2nd scale degree, so that is the supertonic chord. And again, we haven't really dealt with the supertonic, but we do know that the chord built on the 2nd scale degree is called supertonic. It turns out it's a minor chord, not a diminished chord. We have a minor third and a major third. And the lowest sounding note, B flat, is the third of that. So that is another first inversion triad. So we're going to call it a supertonic 6. Okay, let's go to the next beat. Once again, we have F, A, and then C. There's a couple C's there. So F, A, C. So just like on our first beat, and just like here, we have one more tonic triad. Only look what's the lowest note. It's not an A. In this case, it's a C. And that is the 5th of the tonic triad. So we're going to call this a tonic, but not a tonic 6. It's a tonic 6-4. It's in second inversion. Right? So the F, A, C, when C is doubled, is the second inversion. Okay, the next chord, we've got a C, we've got an E, and we've got a G. That is the dominant chord in the key of F. And the lowest sounding note is actually the root. It's C. So we'll just leave this plain. And once again, if we wanted to put dominant 5-3, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a more complete description actually. But the convention is in root position chords just to call them by their label. So in this case, dominant. Alright, and then our last chord is once again an F, A, C chord, or a tonic chord. And this tonic chord has as its lowest note the note F. So it's in root position. So we'll just call this tonic. Alright, so in the example that we've just completed, and I'm going to play it one more time, we've got several chords in inversion. We had a tonic first inversion, we had a leading tone first inversion, then another tonic first inversion, a supertonic first inversion, and then even a tonic second inversion. There were a number of chords in root position still, the subdominant and the dominant and the tonic at the end. But this example is actually more like real music, actual music, and not just an academic example, especially in the fact that it has chords that are in more than root position. And then also it even has a few non-harmonic tones. Alright, I'm going to play it one more time for you, and just go ahead and listen to this hymn called St. Martin's, and maybe especially listen to what happens in the bass where there are inversions.